The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
You're listening to the EP Podcast, all brought to you proudly by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. Whether you're saving for your first home, your child's education, or looking ahead to retirement, First National Bank of Evergreen Park has the solutions and expertise to help you reach your savings goals. Their expert team of bankers are here to support you every step of the way with great savings accounts, certificates of deposit, and more. To find an account that's right for you, make an appointment to meet with a banker at bankevergreenpark.com/EPPod, member FDIC. They got those EP Podcast car magnets, Hannah. How are you?
Good, how are you?
You know, you put the magnet on the back of the car, you can win something big.
You can win
sometimes
some nice
it's
prizes.
cash, sometimes it's like free food. Durbin's has been giving away free food on it, which has been a lot of fun. The retirement announced this morning on social media from Mayor James Sexton. He has been the mayor for 2 decades and announced out of the blue today that he's not going to be going up for re-election here in April, I believe is when the election is. And this is it for him. He's done. And he threw an endorsement out. So, I mean, it was like, it went
he's
from,
been thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, like he
really put thought into it.
He hits the endorsement. He's got the big long letter he sends out to everybody. It hit my email. It's on the Facebook, everything like that.
Facebook.
I don't think anybody knew it was coming. And
I was shocked when I saw it.
Well, what I was wondering was like how many people actually knew behind the scenes.
Well, yeah, because he was saying to put out rumors, so something had leaked. If he's saying there were rumors going about,
right? Something leaked.
Yeah, something leaked.
But I was with Glenn Panuski last night, and because I recorded, we talked about this last week.
Well, he probably wouldn't have said anything. He was going to wait till the mayor said it himself.
Man, he's good at his job, man. Because I was over there recording that thing for their Christmas.
He was trusted with information, probably.
Sunday nights, they're doing the candlelight theater.
Yeah.
And I went and did something. I brought the 2 younger kids, the boys, Dominic and Nicholas. And I brought them over there and I did this whole little thing. It's amazing. And I came up with the whole thing on my own. I didn't tell Glenn what it was going to be. I did it. When I was done, Glenn was like, there's so much potential with this. I want this to be perfect. So he's holding it off now until the 20th of December. So it's not going to be up this Sunday. It's going to be up next Sunday. I've already recorded it. But it was so good. I mean, I heard people that were in the theater group laughing in the background. Like, I nailed this one. All right? I did it in one take, too, Hannah. This wasn't a multi-take thing. This is one take, Chris. I walked in. I sat down. I didn't tell him anything I was doing. I was like, where are my cameras? I nail this sucker. When I'm done, they're laughing. People are applauding. And he's like, we got to make this. We got to move this back closer to the holidays. This is awesome. And it'll be out on the 20th on the Evergreen Park website. evergreenpark-ill.com, which is good because this weekend is going to be all the talk is about the fact that the mayor is retiring.
Yeah.
So,
that's a huge announcement. Huge. Like I saw it this morning and I was like, what? But yeah, I mean, there had to have been rumors. Someone had to have leaked it because he did say, he wanted to dispel any rumors that were going around. So I was like, well, we heard nothing.
Yeah, I didn't hear a thing.
Heard nothing.
Not a thing. No indication whatsoever. So here's the good news. I have the mayor's phone number right now. And he knows that I'm going to get him on the air, and we're gonna talk about this. Okay?
I'm so glad he's doing this. It's so nice of him.
Here's the thing: you're fortunate in how he's worked with the EP podcast. He's gone from somebody that I might have met one time, been introduced to, and there's no way he would have even remembered me.
Yeah.
To somebody who I can call up on the phone.
He's been a good guy. I mean, I haven't been in this community for too long, but he's just been an upstanding guy. Everything I've known about him.
Yeah,
so
he's a good dude.
I was very, happy that he, agreed to just jump on and just talk to us about this.
Exactly. So we're going to dial this up. We're going to make sure we do all this right live. We're going to get Mayor James Sexton on, who announced this morning that he is going to be retiring. So let's see if we can get him on the line right now.
Hello, Chris.
How are you, Mr. Mayor?
Everything's wonderful. How are you? Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays. Merry Christmas. I'm doing well. I see it this morning and it shocked me, but it makes sense. 4 decades of service with Evergreen Park, and you're going to be retiring here in the spring. Is that how I read that?
Correct. It would be in May of 2021, after the next election.
So the election would be coming up. You're not going to be running, so you're basically finishing out the full term, right?
Correct.
When do you make this decision? I guess that's the first thing that I'm curious about because, well-deserved retirement, of course. So much has changed in Evergreen Park. We're going to get into that here while we're talking today. But when does that decision happen? Because, I part of me kind of imagined like maybe you came to this decision before the pandemic and was like, well, no, I've got to get through the pandemic before I leave, or was it just this was the right time? You always knew it was going to happen. How did you come to this?
I think you always know when it's time to hang it up. Karen and I have been talking about it for some time, and I just thought this was a really good time. We have an incredible team still on the field that's going to bring Evergreen Park into the next years. So it's time to do it. I came in 20 years ago as mayor with some fresh ideas, and there's somebody out there with some fresh ideas again.
All these years in government with Evergreen Park, and then a couple of decades as the mayor, and so many changes, really. When I was reading the letter that you sent out to everybody in Evergreen, I can see there's a lot of things that you're very proud of. The thing that always stands out to me is how much there seemed to be a plan for the village as a whole in terms of business and bringing in certain kinds of businesses and putting them in certain areas of Evergreen Park, but still trying to keep the small mom and pop stores together. Like you brought in some big box stores. There's a lot of development over on the east side of Evergreen Park. But then I talked to restaurants like Porter Cullen's or Thi's and several others who will point out to me, like, the mayor was always very involved in everything to help us get going and very supportive. Is that the biggest part of your legacy when you look back over the last couple of decades?
Well, I don't think it'll be my legacy. It's our legacy. It's all the department heads, our attorney, our treasurer, our building department, all of the people, the trustees. Kathy Aparo certainly is our clerk. The legacy goes to everyone because of all the hard work they've put into it, Chris. And yeah, we did have a plan, and we've been looking at a plan for 25 or 30 years to make Evergreen Park survive. And thank God we did.
You've always been a mayor that you can see. You're at all the events. You pop in at the local businesses. I was telling a story to somebody today. They were like, what was your opinion of the mayor? And I said, I first of all, extremely supportive of this podcast. I can only I can't thank you enough for all the help that you've given me over the first few years of existence of the EP podcast. But also, you're the kind of guy. I told a story how I was in Cousin Subs, and I'm just in there for a meeting with them because they're thinking about doing advertising with the EP podcast. And you walk in to get some cheese curds, and you didn't have to say anything, and you walk right up, and it was almost like you sat down and you brought two businesses together just randomly to have a conversation in which Cousins starts up a partnership with the EP podcast. You were always there and very involved, and I would imagine you set out to be that. But kind of talk a little bit about that and why that was so important to you.
Well, a lot of these people that I've personally asked them to come to Evergreen Park, and I have to support them, and we have to make them succeed because the next time I tell this story, it has to be true. So thank God we've been truthful with everybody that's considered Evergreen Park. We've supported them, and the story so far has turned out very well.
So you put in your letter that you had a recommendation for who you think, or your endorsement for the next mayor of Evergreen Park, State Representative Kelly Burke. Can you tell me a little bit about her? I know she's been on the show before, and I know that she just recently became a trustee of the village, which is kind of a nice little preamble before she runs for mayor, because she's already been a little bit involved in what's going on in Evergreen Park politics. But tell me a little bit about her and why you were like, this is the next person, in my opinion.
Well, I don't like making endorsements. People still need to go out in the April election and choose the person of their liking. But Kelly Burke is an incredibly talented lady. She's an attorney. She's our state representative. She's been around the block. She will know a lot of people and be able to help us a lot with all of her connections here in Evergreen Park. So Kelly was a natural for it. Our other trustees and Kathy Aparo, our fine clerk, will remain. So this isn't going to miss a step. In fact, it'll be better when Kelly takes over and continues to have Kathy and our trustees. So I'm looking for better things than we've had.
You have an awful lot of loyal people that I think keep your secrets close to the vest, because I have talked to so many people around the village over the last month or so, and I didn't hear a whisper of this. I actually saw Glenn Panuski last night, and we had a big conversation and never even came up. Who did you tell beforehand, and how early did people like, Kelly know and your village trustees? When did you start letting people know this was probably going to happen?
It was just of late, Chris. Karen and I have been discussing it, and that's probably the only one I discuss our lives with is she and I, and certainly the kids and my grandkids. But it just seemed to come about of late, and I think you always know when it's time to hang them up.
Are you excited? Like to finally, like, I would assume that you're still going to stay here in Evergreen Park, or are you running off to like Florida with Karen? Like what? No. I'll be here. We'll be here in Evergreen Park. Our 3 kids and our 5 grandkids are here in Evergreen Park. Jill Molesky, my ex-daughter-in-law, who I consider still a daughter-in-law here, lives in town with her husband, Steve. So we're going nowhere. Just looking possibly for other opportunities, but we'll be here for whatever we need. And most importantly, for the next 6 months, we will make this transition smooth as it can be so that we don't have any problems similar to we're having in the federal government. What was the big thing for you? Because I want to kind of go back to that, because I look at that message you sent out. It was very heartfelt, and you can tell that you really wanted to express your feelings to the people of Evergreen Park about, how much you love the EP and how much you care about what is going on here and how much you want the positives to continue. If you had to look back, is there something that just comes right to the top of your mind that you're like, I'm just so glad we were able to accomplish this, or that we were able to build this? Is there something that you sit there and go, I'm really glad we were able to do this in Evergreen Park? Well, Chris, I think, the retail is expected. People want you to be out selling and bringing new businesses here to Evergreen Park. But probably the thing I'm proudest of is the good friends that I made over all of these years. This goes back to Holy Redeemer in the early years, coaching basketball. That goes back to 1976, I think, 77. And I'm really just proud of all of the good friends that I've made, and more importantly, the public safety. We have not slipped one bit in public safety, fire, and police over these years. You see a lot of things going on in the city, in Minneapolis, and L.A., and Seattle, and all of those places. That type of stuff doesn't go on here because of our dedicated servants. I think probably public safety would be the thing that made me proudest. Before I let you go, I want to say thanks, first of all, right here on the show. I know that when I first started this business venture, and I started the EP podcast as one of the podcasts on the Broadcast Basement On Demand Radio Network, there's no guarantee that the village would have anything to do with little old me. And you have been so supportive of this show, from just the fact that people started coming on and telling us what was going on in the village, to making yourself accessible to us, to the fact that, I had access to all the different events going on in Evergreen Park, so we could let people know that we existed, and so that we could cover Evergreen Park and accomplish our goal of being something for the entire community. And I just wanted to express heartfelt appreciation for all that you've done for this show. Well, I thank you for that, Chris. And you, like everybody here in Evergreen Park, and myself included, loves this town. And we wish it nothing but the best. I am sure, very sure, the next few years things will get nothing but better after I get out of the way of some new ideas. This was the job of a lifetime, but it's not the job for a lifetime. There'll be other opportunities for me, but it's time for me to get out of the way and let some new ideas float to the top and take this thing into the next
20, 50 years.
Well, sir, I also want to right now, and I don't know if we'll talk between now and when you finally leave office, but I do want to extend an invitation. You've always been nice enough to come on the phone with me, but being the consummate professional, I always understood why you weren't going to sit down here and do an interview with a cold beer in front of you. But when you have retired, okay, they're on me. Bring your lovely wife over. Sit down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar. We won't talk about politics. We'll just have fun. And you're always welcome here on this show.
Well, I appreciate that, Chris. I'll bring a red cup over to your house. You got to make sure Mom and Dad stop by. And I'm not done with economic development. I'd like to talk to a brewer, and I heard you might know a couple.
I know a few of them. I know a few brewers, and the way that the world is right now, there are a few of them out there that probably are trying to figure out a better situation. So we'll have to chat, you and me, off the air about that, because I know that you want to I love breweries, and I would love to get a brewery here in Evergreen Park as well.
There's no place better than Evergreen Park. All right, Chris. Have a Merry Christmas and a safe and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Talk to you soon.
You've heard us talk about Cool Cloud's Vapor Shop, local Evergreen Park business that helps people stop smoking. In fact, they've been around right here in Evergreen Park since 2014, and they are open and ready now to help smokers get off of cigarettes with a $30 starter kit. A wide range of devices are available. Try a different flavor or a nicotine strength. And right now they're offering curbside pickup, delivery, and shipping options. Cool Clouds also has a growing selection of CBD products and recreational cannabis accessories. First-time customers, mention the EP podcast for 20% off your first purchase when you sign up for the rewards program. With gift certificates available, get one now for the smoker you want to get off cigarettes. Cool Clouds Vapor Shop, 3837 West 95th Street in Evergreen Park. Age verification is required, must be 21. Remember, quitting smoking is hard. Lucky for you, there's Cool Clouds Vapor Shop. Hannah, it is going to be a very interesting weekend here in Evergreen Park. Already the news about the mayor deciding he's going to retire. You have Kelly Burke's going to be on this program, the person that he's endorsed to be the next mayor. She's going to be joining us next week. There's free COVID testing Friday, December the 11th. That is this Friday, 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at Yukich Field, 89th and Kedzie on the northwest corner. Brought to you by Cook County Commissioner Stanley Moore, John Daly, and of course Mayor James Sexton. It's drive-through, mouth swab, easy testing, brought to you by Molecular Diagnostics Lab. So that's a big thing right there. And then also, people are stealing mail.
This is really bothering me.
A crazy story.
This is bothering me because this has been going on. So how long have people in Mount Greenwood been complaining about the service of the Mount Greenwood Post Office?
The Mount Greenwood Post Office may be the worst post office.
Okay, so this has been going on.
In the nation.
But now they're finding not only, USPS packages and parcels being dumped in someone's garbage can, but in people's alleys and in Evergreen Park, they're finding also FedEx and UPS packages. Or that are just like dumped in their alleys.
So then is that the post office or is that a porch pirate? Because the post office isn't delivering that stuff.
It could be UPS that's delivered via UPS SurePost, where UPS turns it over to the post office and actually the post office delivers it to you.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, but we're not sure because it could be that somebody stole a bunch of stuff in Evergreen Park.
It could be, but why wouldn't they open it? Why did they just dump it?
They shook it, and they were like, that doesn't sound valuable. I don't know.
I'm just like, why would someone go through that hassle and that trouble? But, I'm wondering, like, do all these parcels, do they all filter through one place at some certain point? But I don't know about FedEx, if FedEx, liaises with, like, the U.S. mail, but I know that UPS does. So
this shouldn't be hard to do. First of all, they have U.S. Postal Police, right? Or something like that, postal inspect. They have their own police. They have their own police force, which first of all gives Timothy Oliphant yet another series that he can do. Where now he's the sheriff of the postal police, just like he was in Justified or Deadwood, and he also played in the Mandalorian. He played a sheriff. That's all the guy plays. So now we can have Timothy Oliphant as postal police. That should be very easy to do. So good for him. But I had no idea that there were postal police. So they're investigating. This is a federal crime. So
it
this
is
a federal
crime.
thing.
Now, I'm not sure if you mess with parcels like UPS or FedEx, because that's a private company. It's not federal. So I don't know how that works.
Yeah, but the feds will figure this out. And
the feds will figure it out.
Let me explain this. First of all, they were all coming to Evergreen Park. And if you didn't hear the whole story, I think we kind of jumped into it and didn't explain this.
I'm sorry.
What happened was that it was in Mount Greenwood is where it was at?
And in Evergreen.
No. Where was it discovered?
The 19 parcels were in a Mount Greenwood garbage can.
Okay, so a Mount Greenwood garbage can. So
residential garbage can.
The resident who found all the packages took a picture, put it on Facebook, and said they all have a 60805 area code, which is Evergreen Park. So somebody dumped a bunch of Evergreen Park packages in a garbage can in Mount Greenwood.
Yes.
Then the alderman's office over there got involved, O'Shea's, and then the feds get involved because it's the postal service, so the postal police get involved in it, and now there's an investigation. I would think it would be at least easy to figure out if it had something to do with the mail carrier or the distribution point, because all these packages are tracked, and if you're able to think about it, the post office, FedEx, and UPS, you're probably able to whittle things down to when were these all together? Yeah. Just by the tracking, right?
Right. And well, I don't really rely on the tracking because, people have been saying, I've been following the threads on Facebook. They're saying, oh, you know how it is. FedEx says this was delivered at your door. Well, no, it wasn't. So how reliable is their tracking? Because when you contact FedEx, they take their tracking, whatever their driver puts into the system, as the Bible.
Right.
You cannot argue it because we've had that happen. My husband's had that happen with FedEx. They will say, oh, we don't know. Did you check your back door? Do you have a garage? Do you have a pet door? They try to put it on you is what they do.
Well, I had a FedEx guy take a package one time that I ordered that was a big cardboard box and put it behind my garbage cans where the empty cardboard boxes were.
And
we spent 3 days.
Oh, no.
We spent 3 days trying to find the thing. And it was a big Christmas present for one of the kids. And then I find this thing going back by the garbage cans, and it's been sitting there because the guy thought it was funny, because that's the only way you do that. You walk down the gangway and stick the package with the stuff that's being thrown out because you're a jerk.
Right. Well,
so I've seen that before.
Now, something else I want to say. So there were also 3 boxes that were found last night, not as of right now, not even 24 hours ago, that were found in Evergreen. And oddly enough, so these were FedEx boxes. The third box does not have an EP address. It is a 6000 South address. How did that end up dumped in someone's alley in Evergreen?
It's weird. There's some weird stuff going on with the mail. It's the Grinch is what it is.
It is the Grinch. Everyone's picking on him.
The Grinch never stole the presents. You never saw the Grinch unwrap the presents. The Grinch just took the presents to ruin Christmas. So what you're telling me that Timothy Oliphant and the postal police are looking for is a large green furry creature from Whoville dressed as Santa Claus with a dog that has reindeer. Well, he's just outside of Whoville, so from the suburbs of Whoville. Okay. And he's got a dog next to him that's got reindeer antlers that are glued to his head. Be on the lookout for this green gentleman who is taking packages from Evergreen Park and disposing them inside of garbage cans.
Look at all those people in this great suburb driving down 95th and Kedzie. What a great place. It's called Evergreen Park, but we know it better as the EP. We're known for more than just the Unabomber. Remember Ted Kaczynski? You guys might even remember that big old rooster on 95th Street. It's all part of EP's history. So listen up to the EP podcast. You might be asking why. Because we talk about all things and we celebrate all the great things in the 60805. It's the EP podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP podcast. Evergreen Park.